All right, let's jump right into this. For decades, learning a second language was really just treated as a nice little resume booster, right? You know, something you might casually drop in a job interview or use to order a coffee on an overseas vacation. But as we navigate the complexities of the 2020s, the data is telling us a completely different story. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to dive into some extensive recent research that reveals how mastering a new language is no longer just some academic exercise or a fun hobby. It's actually the ultimate life hack for this decade. We are talking about profound, measurable transformations to your financial trajectory, the physical structure of your aging brain, and even your emotional well-being. So here is our roadmap for This Explainer. First up, the financial edge. Then we'll look at the brain shield. Third, the heart and mind. And finally, step 4, how to get started. Okay, let's kick things off with part 1, the financial edge, boosting your salary and career. Look, the modern international workplace has fundamentally shifted how it values human capital. Just get a load of this staggering number. According to a 2025 study reported by Forbes, bilingual employees earn an average salary premium of 19%. Just think about that for a second. If you're earning $80,000 a year, a 19% premium is an extra $15,200 annually. Over a full career, this one simple cognitive skill compounds into tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra lifetime earnings. And it's definitely not an anomaly. A recent survey confirmed that 90% of U.S. employers rely on employees who speak languages other than English. In fact, 1 in 4 companies have actually lost business simply because they lacked staff who could communicate in a client's language. So you might be wondering, which languages actually command the highest return on investment? Well, here are the 7 highest paying languages in 2026, mapped directly to the global industries that desperately need them. If you're working in healthcare or education in the U.S., Spanish is an absolute powerhouse, with 85% of employers relying on it. If you're in tech or finance, Mandarin Chinese and Japanese open massive doors in global supply chains and manufacturing. Are you in engineering or renewable energy? German is basically your golden ticket to Europe's largest economy. The demand is so high right now that biliteracy is increasingly being treated not just as a nice bonus, but as a baseline metric for workforce readiness. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking, why not just use AI? I mean, it's 2026, right? Well, take Amazon's launch in Sweden. Machine translation accidentally rendered rapeseed as a highly offensive term and then labeled a frying pan as suitable for women, which completely undermines their entire market entry. Or take HSBC. Their tagline, "Assume Nothing," was machine translated as "do nothing," literally forcing a $10 million rebranding campaign. Yikes. You see, AI processes words, but it does not understand culture, taboo, or emotional weight. Employers are still paying top dollar for humans because humans bring cultural sensitivity, the ability to genuinely build trust, and the nuance required for complex legal or financial negotiations. The highest paid professionals today are those who combine strong human language fluency with AI literacy. Moving right along to part 2, the brain shield, delaying Alzheimer's disease. So the financial benefits are obviously incredible, but what language learning does to the physical structure of your brain is genuinely life-changing. To really grasp the medical data here, we need to understand a concept called cognitive reserve. Think of your brain like a massive, bustling highway system. As we age, or if a disease like Alzheimer's sets in, some of those highways inevitably get blocked. Cognitive reserve is basically your brain's ability to quickly build detours and alternate routes so that traffic, your thoughts, your memories, can keep flowing smoothly. When you speak 2 languages, your brain is constantly managing them, suppressing one while activating the other. This acts as a lifelong, intense workout for your brain's executive control system, literally increasing the density of gray and white matter in your prefrontal cortex. And the real-world impact of building up that cognitive reserve? It is staggering. A peer-reviewed meta-analysis that pooled data from hundreds of patients reveals that lifelong bilingualism delays the onset of Alzheimer's disease symptoms by 4.05 years compared to monolinguals. Let that sink in for a minute. Over 4 years. Bilinguals might actually have the exact same physical Alzheimer's pathology, the same brain atrophy as monolinguals, but their cognitive reserve is so robust that their brain compensates for it. It allows them to function normally and delay clinical symptoms for years. There is currently no drug on the market that can claim to delay the onset of Alzheimer's symptoms quite like this. Which brings us to part 3, the heart and mind, empathy and mental health. Beyond just wealth and physical brain health, language learning is proving to be an absolutely vital tool against some of the modern epidemics of our time: stress, loneliness, and a really severe lack of empathy. An empirical meta-analysis of over 70 studies actually showed a 40% decline in empathy among college students between 1972 and 2009. We are seriously struggling to understand diverse perspectives. Take this case study from the BYU Humanities Center, for example. Following the 2010 Haiti earthquake, a group of well-meaning Americans collected toys for Haitian orphanage. They sent over stuffed animals and battery-operated toys. But a year later, they visited and were totally shocked to find the toys unused. When college students were asked to analyze this, they couldn't see the problem. They actually accused the orphanage of being ungrateful. They completely failed to realize that in an emergency zone, stuffed animals are essentially germ magnets, and finding batteries for electronic toys is near impossible. It was a complete failure to adopt another culture's frame of reference. And this is exactly where language intervenes. I love this quote from the great Japanese writer Haruki Murakami. Learning another language is like becoming another person. When you learn a new language, you aren't just memorizing a bunch of vocabulary flashcards. You're developing a pluricultural identity. You're learning to conceptualize things that your native language might not even be capable of expressing. You literally stretch your mind around entirely new ways of seeing the world. It is quite possibly the most direct antidote we have to that 40% decline in empathy. Plus, the actual process of getting there is deeply therapeutic. Studying a language demands such intense focus that it pulls you away from your daily worries, putting your brain into this mindful state that actively relieves anxiety. And every single time you master a new tense or manage to hold a basic conversation, your brain releases dopamine, sparking this incredible cycle of motivation. On top of that, it combats loneliness by connecting you with communities of fellow learners and native speakers. You're out there, you're constantly making mistakes, and that builds a resilient growth mindset that bleeds right over into your professional and personal life. Okay, let's wrap up with part 4, how to get started, actionable takeaways for busy professionals. So you know the why, the money, the brain protection, the empathy boost, but if you're a busy professional, how do you actually get started without feeling totally overwhelmed? First off, forget those boring textbook drills. The science points heavily to something called comprehensible input. Basically, consuming content that's just slightly above your current level. Watch industry conferences or listen to podcasts in your target language. But the real magic happens when you practice reading while listening. Brain imaging research shows that if you listen to spoken words while simultaneously reading the captions, it creates these powerful dual traces in your memory, which can strengthen retention by up to 5 times. You can do this super easily using YouTube auto captions or live transcription tools like Fluent capturing international webinars. And the best part? Consistency always beats intensity. Integrating just 20 minutes of daily exposure to professional content will build cumulative fluency over time. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've seen how language skills can dramatically boost your earning potential, physically delay the onset of Alzheimer's symptoms, and fundamentally rewire your capacity for empathy and human connection. It's not just a skill, guys, it is a full-blown transformation. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to carry with you today. Who will you become when you learn your next language? Thank you so much for watching, and stay curious.